I am the son of Howard and they called him B.O. and Barbara Jean. I am the fifth of 5 children between those two, born and raised, reared here in Nashville. I am quintessential Nashville. I went to public schools here in Nashville, graduated from White Creek High School in 1980. I attended, well, before that, I went to pre-college at Fisk University, which gave me a taste of college, and graduated from Tennessee State University, and a couple of times. And I've gone to I went to American Baptist College, and graduated from also finishing a doctoral degree from Tribeca.
You didn't move far though. You've stayed you said in the same general area.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Born in Preston Taylor, 3510 Indiana Avenue, and my mom and pop moved from there to where my mom stays now in Haynes Manor. So, and I live not far from her on Clarksville Pike, and my sister lives in the community. So, I'm born and raised right here in Nashville.
I'm sure you had the opportunity to leave. Why haven't you?
Well, all roads lead back to Nashville, and I've been all over the world, actually. I've spoken in places as Moscow and Russia, and I've been to Tokyo, and I've been all over the world, but all roads lead back to Nashville. I remember Nashville when Nashville was family, and it was the best place to raise a child, and I love Nashville. Nashville's a great place to live.
Now, you told the Banner a while back that Nashville needs more police officers beyond just the unfilled positions. You also said no new taxes. How do those two things square?
Well, accountability for taxes. I think Nashville's growing greatly. The idea of taxes, to me, I think people need to agree to that, because when taxes were going up, when we were levying that tax piece, we were going through a lot of trouble in the city. And I have a heart for our seniors. And what I understand about taxes is that when you raise them, everything's going up. I'm an educator, and getting a raise is fantastic. It's great, but I also understood that I have seniors that have to make a decision between medication or food. And so that was my piece. If we do this, let's make sure that we have accountability for the growth that we have and the money that's coming in. And that was my piece about no new taxes. Without accountability, we've got to have that accountability and understand that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And so we've got to be responsible for all the citizens of Nashville. And then, we have people moving out of Nashville greatly because rent's going up and things of that nature. In terms of the police department, our children are committing some heinous crimes in the city. I believe the police department is doing a great job with Chief Drake, with building relationships. We've got to do more of that. When I was a young man, Officer Bodenhammer knew my mom and my dad. And so we've got to build that kind of relationship where the police are culturally competent. And right now I believe the system is, get a call, you have 2 police officer cars, if possible, they run to a scene. And sometimes they don't know the people that they're running in to serve. And they've got to be safe, they want to go home. But I believe that if we can surely fully fund, don't just abandon the police department, because if someone breaks into your home, you are going to call the police department, and we need them. We want to be safe in the city. So in that regard, building a police force that is culturally competent, that knows the people that they're serving, I believe the people will begin to trust them more, and that's from my past experience. I believe it with all my heart.
What about the Community Oversight Board, something that people voted on and is apparently on its way out? Well, how do we reconcile that?
I am an old history teacher, okay, and I believe this is, and I taught government as well. I think it's for the people and by the people. If the people surely have said this is what we need, that's what we must do. And I believe the city of Nashville need leadership, and we should not be on our heels because of state government. We need to put the state on its heels and begin to absolutely organize what the city and the citizens of local government has stated. We need to absolutely do that. Call it what you want to call it. We need to do it. We need to have it.
Give me the job description of an at-large council member.
A servant of every district, every part of the city. Could be almost a balancer, an equalizer. a person that should indeed see a blighted portion of the city and then make a decision that's based on the good of the whole county and not just a portion. And sometimes we need that kind of a balance.
What would be your top priority if you're elected?
Economic equity. Let's have growth in areas where it's not taking place. Let's look at Jefferson Street, for instance, and see everything is growing in Nashville. It's a great place to live. But when you see some areas of town that's not growing, we need to understand why. If we're bringing in large companies and giving them a tax abatement, why can't we pull people together who own property on Jefferson Street or those particular areas and come up with a vision that could absolutely help them? And let's give them some tax breaks.
You've been all over the county. Where are other areas that seem to be lacking in opportunity?
Yeah, I think, all of this county, we could do some things. I believe Bellevue would love some diversity in terms of business choices and food places and eateries. Antioch definitely would need, one thing she needs is a new police station out there in Antioch. And I think they've christened that. Jolton absolutely would need some particular type of development. In the Bardo area, we don't need another dump in the Bardo area, but you can't find a coffee shop in Bardo, or you can't find I want to go and sit out and get a nice outdoor eatery. It does not exist in Bardo. So just bringing in those kinds of developments, of economic development, it would be great.
You have talked about a $1 billion plan for affordable housing. Have I got that right? Billion?
Yeah, my piece is this. If we could do, and I've voiced this, if we could do a $2 billion deal for football, and we understand the whole football piece can bring in other monies and it'll trickle down. So if we could do a $2 billion deal for football, can we do a $1 billion deal for housing? There was a time in Nashville that if you, and my heart goes out to some of my teachers work here. I'm a principal at Stratford. Some of them work here, but they can't live here. Mm-hmm. We used to have a first-time buyers situation here in Nashville, that if you're a teacher or you're a first-time buyer, then we would help, the government would help you get that particular piece of property. I believe that if we would get into that idea of understanding how we could kind of subsidize that housing situation based on your income, then you could get affordable house based on your income, and it would be a win-win situation for us. I would love for us to look at that and see if we can actually get that done, because our police officers need to be able to live here. Our teachers need to be able to live here. Our healthcare persons should live here in Nashville based on their income, and let's do that. Bring that, maybe subsidize it to bring down that interest rate.
Have you thought a little about where that money stream might come from?
I'm believing, with the money the excess money that we have in our budget for the city, and we've given some to education, and that's been quite great that we have subsidized it. In fact, as a principal, they've given me the largest raise I've ever had in my life.
Was it this past budget?
This past budget cycle. Yes, ma'am. It's the largest increase I've ever had, and it will help. I would say it would indeed help keeping some educators here. But I think maybe we could do some other pieces with that and help with housing in the city. Have you had a hard time recruiting and retaining teachers in your school? Well, I'm a hard worker, and I'm the hiring principal at Stratford High School, and we are fully staffed. So you can't wait for them to come to you. Sometimes you got to go to them. Yeah, but the salary, I would imagine salary is a problem when you're recruiting. Well, Nashville salary is great. It's a great opportunity. I've recruited people from out of state to come here because we pay well. If you've been elected and you have an issue or a bill that you're trying to pass, yes, ma'am. What's your style for lobbying the district members? Getting them on the same page? I think we have to have a conversation about it. Look at the pros and cons of it. Look at the data. I think when being a leader, whether I'm running Kingdom Cafe or with the business I own or the school system, I look at the data first and then have a conversation with those persons that are wise. If If I want to open a grocery store or a large department store, I'm going to go to the Walmart people and find out, how do they do it, and what were your ups and downs concerning it. So I would love to have that conversation. I think, and part of my theme for the campaign is let's shape Nashville's future together. I think all of us are smarter than one of us. So instead of just trying to say, well, just do this, let's have a conversation and synergize. Let us come together, and you may have a thesis, I may have an antithesis of it, but we can indeed come together with the synthesis of it.
So you're running a full-time business and being the principal of a school?
Yes.
How's that work?
It works with leadership, okay? And I pastor Fairfield Church.
Ah, okay.
And so, and what I've discovered in leadership, it's not centered around Howard. It's centered around building capacity in people and then giving them opportunity to do that. I don't cook, but learning systems and putting those systems together and monitoring those systems and having meeting and holding them accountable is what we do. But treating everybody with dignity and with respect is what I would do. And that's what I've done over the years.
It's a bit of a crowded race. How do you differentiate yourself? What's your pitch to the people?
I would differentiate myself by saying, check out my record. If we looked at my educational record, it's second to none with the doctoral piece. I don't push that, but it's second to none. If you look at my leadership record in terms of transforming a church that used to be in South Nashville and then having affordable housing we created with that faith-based agency. Looking at what I've done with Kingdom Cafe and Grill in 37208 zip code, where people have argued about and said, well, that's the zip code where more African Americans have gone to jail. Well, I don't want to just fuss about what's been. Let's begin to change it and transform it and make it better. And so that's part of my record and what I do. And I want to serve Nashville. So, the other day I saw some children during early voting time. I saw some children, they were just wandering in the Bartow area. And I approached them and said, hey, come, let's put them to work. Because when I was a kid, I worked and it kept me out of trouble. And with children just roaming without a job in the city, they're going to get in trouble. And so I got them and gave them a little stipend, a little job. Just stand here and work with the people that are campaigning. Meet, those that are running. Meet Freddie O'Connell. Meet these people. And they were excited about that. Okay, and it kept them out of trouble. However, as soon as it was over, we understand that there was a shooting at Bartow Library. And it was because of these kids were just doing nothing and they have guns. So I'm just saying what differentiates me is that I can have a conversation with the elite, but then I can also walk with those that are in the community. And so we've got to do that together. And that's what I bring to the table. And I bring a heart. I am from Nashville. And I treat everybody with dignity and with respect, and I respect, and we will make a difference here in Nashville with the council.